In this video, you're going to learn the top 5 mortgage myths, and we're gonna bust them. My name is Tara Stone with Tara Stone Realty, and I help people realize their real estate dreams. I'm joined today by a good friend of mine and an amazing lender, Michael Sullivan with Capital M Lending.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
All right, so let's talk about our top 5 mortgage myths.
All right.
We've got our high-tech little sheet back here, and we're gonna just rip into these and help you guys understand what's going on in the mortgage market. So, here we are. Number 1, you need 20% down to buy a house. Tell me about that.
Well, it's not totally true. So the only reason that everyone talks about 20% down is because that's how you get out of mortgage insurance.
Ooh,
However,
right.
you can buy a house for as little as 3% down, 3.5% down, and the goal is to figure out what it is that you can afford to get into a home on a payment, as opposed to just having this target of how much money I need to save. It's a much bigger picture that you have to look into.
So, 20% down is busted. You do not need 20% down to get into a mortgage.
It's true.
All right, myth number 2, FHA and VA loans are hard.
It's not true at all. So a lot of times people in the past have had trouble with FHA loans and VA loans. I think part of that comes down to working with lenders that aren't good at those programs. But the other side of it is the myth associated to the appraisals are hard,
Yep.
the house has to be in perfect condition.
I've heard that.
It's really just not true. There's a few things that these loans want to see out of a home that maybe a conventional loan through Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is not as concerned about, but it's minor stuff. A little bit
Yep.
of like peeling paint, or if the trees are laying on the house. You know, FHA is a little pickier about that, but really everybody should be picky about that. They're not hard at all. They're actually these 2 loans are my favorite loans. They're so good for the buyers. You can get into these properties with very little down, 3.5% on FHA, 0% on the VA loan. And the way they're structured, they actually are less expensive loans.
Yeah.
So it's a great product to have. And if you need to get into a house using one of these, don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of that at all.
Yep, and when we are looking and providing a home search for you, we can kind of filter out the homes that wouldn't even qualify. So we're not gonna waste your time, his time, and we're gonna make sure that the loan is actually eligible for these types of loans. Myth number 3, getting pre-approved is really hard. I've heard this from multiple people. They think it's gonna take a super long time. What are you saying?
So, all right, getting pre-approved is not hard at all. And at least the way we handle it here at Capital M Lending, and especially with my clients, I want to do the hard work for you. That's what we do. That's why you hire us.
Yep.
So really getting pre-approved is just about gathering a few documents. Pay stubs, W-2s, maybe taxes if you're self-employed, and some bank statements. You probably have your ID in your wallet. We're pretty much done.
And like, if I were to call you up and say, and this is what I do on a regular basis, hey, Michael, I have buyers, we want to go look at houses this weekend, it's Thursday, can we get a pre-approval letter like by Saturday?
Absolutely. Actually, the timeline's mostly in the hands of the buyer. So if we were to get the documents right away, let's say Friday morning, my team and I, we can totally work through the entire set of information, call you for a 5-minute interview, and we're done, we're ready. So not everybody works that way. Some companies will have you go online, fill out the application. That takes you more time, it's inaccurate, you might get some false approval, and certainly not solid numbers.
Yeah, talk to a real person.
Yeah, talking to humans, what do you know, it works. So, but I think that that's the key, is that what I like to do is, as soon as you give me your information, I commit to turning that around right away. You've taken the time to send me the information, you're serious, I want to help you. It's not hard, it doesn't take a long time. We can do this very quickly for you.
Wonderful, all right, we've busted that myth. Myth number 4, getting pre-approved hurts my credit score. People ask me this question all the time.
Yeah, you know, so technically speaking, when you get your credit pulled, you might lose a couple points. It's true, it is true. But if you haven't had your credit pulled already, we don't even know what your score is. So it is one of those things where if you have good credit and your credit is pulled, it's not affecting you. You're not losing hundreds of points. You're not going from great credit to bad credit.
Right.
We're talking about just a few points here. They've redesigned the system so that you can be a good consumer. You can do your shopping. You can actually have pre-approvals done and not worry about how it's going to tank your credit
Right.
and change the terms that you have access to. So it's absolutely not true that it hurts your credit. It's just something where really this whole myth about hurting credit, it's about if you're going out and having 5 different credit card companies pull your credit, and about
Don't do that.
Don't do
Don't
that.
do
Yeah.
that.
And having all these different companies pulling your credit because all of a sudden it looks like you don't have money, you're trying to get credit. That's not what a mortgage inquiry is. And mortgage inquiry is more of a strategic, planned, kind of wealth building move. So it's not the same as having 5 different credit card companies pull.
All right, so we've busted that myth, and we're gonna talk about the very last myth right now. Myth number 5. I work with a ton of first-time home buyers. Michael also works with a ton of first-time home buyers. It's realizing that real estate dream. That's why we're in this business. Myth number 5, first-time home buyer program means no money down.
I wish it were true. I do. I really do. It would be great if we could all buy houses and not need any money or anything like that. So quickly, first-time home buyers. That phrase is a marketing slogan. That is designed to get you to go, hey, that's me. And it makes you call, it makes you get interested. And yes, some programs are designed for just first-time home buyers. Others that are like first-time home buyer programs, maybe you don't have to be a first-time home buyer to get that program. You just can't have 2 loans at one time. So to continue this conversation, when you're talking about down payment and the myths that are out there, a lot of times it's like, oh, zero money down. Well, there's still always costs.
Yep.
And there's 3 things that you have to pay for when you buy a house. It's the down payment. So if we can get you into a 0 down, great. But you still have closing costs, which are the fees that go to the companies and the people that are doing all this work for you, from title companies to simply credit reports and appraisals. But then the third thing that you're always paying for is what's called prepaids. Prepaid taxes and insurance. And this is a big surprise, especially in Oregon.
Yeah.
You're going to pay about 11 months of property taxes right up front, a full year of homeowners insurance. So there's these things that you just have to pay for, and you really can't get into a house for 0 money. If you do, it was a perfect storm. The reality, though, is we have to go into this planning that some money is needed, and that's what we figure out in the pre-approval process. That's why we talk. That's why we look into this information before you go out and shop for houses or fall in love with a house. So we can figure out how much money do you really need, so that you know how to buy that house that you're looking at or hopefully looking at.
Yeah, and an alternative to this that we've spoken about, instead of doing a first-time home buyer program, let's look at FHA. 3.5% down and asking the seller to cover some of those closing costs. There are ways to be creative to help mitigate some of those costs in closing. So, thank you so much. I hope this video was super informative for you. Michael, thank you for your time.
It's fun.
I love working together. He always answers when I call or calls me right back, which is wonderful, and they are a local company. I'm with Brantley Christensen Real Estate, another local company here in Portland and Washington. Please give me a call if you have any questions, 503-926-6997. I'll have the information below for myself and for Michael if you want to get pre-approved and talk about making a move here in the market. Thanks so much. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.
If you like this video and found it helpful, feel free to like, share, or subscribe down below. Thanks.